military family-owned business. And we love to personalize your tour. We like to send you to places and make it your trip. And so we like to take you to Europe. We'll send you anywhere around the globe. We make sure it's affordable. And so some of the things that we offer, we do some of the personalized things of taking you to stay in castles. We take you on those exclusive golf tours. Or just go out into the Moroccan desert and experience what it is to really look at the stars. And we like having people enjoy the culture and the culinary delights of the globe. That's the biggest part.
Wow, that sounds so exciting. I was getting all caught up in that. I almost forgot to bring me back into the pictures. So you're doing wonderful things at Your Way. And when we spoke to you last, you were giving us some information about wine country tours. How did that go? Has it happened yet?
So right now we've got some of the tours. We did have a Harvest Fest at the Boisset Wine Collections up in the Sonoma Valley. France is just opening up. So we're looking forward of being back out in the vineyards in France in the spring of 2022. So we're booking for those trips right now, and I've got several groups heading out, not just to do the wine tasting out in the vineyards, but they're going to go over to Normandy and see some of the historical things happening out at Normandy on the beaches. Wonderful, wonderful U.S. Alliance and cemetery there. That is just something that really hits the heart when you go to visit those areas. And of course, when you're in that area, you got to go to Saint Mont Michel and visit that wonderful little city in the island. And many of the wine valleys. So Bordeaux is one of the big places we'll be heading to. And we can't forget the biggest wine region in Germany is Stuttgart. So some of my friends have been out there, and this is the time they are out there picking those grapes right now.
That sounds like so much fun. I've never actually done that myself. Have you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I had some friends visiting. Oh, my gosh. He thought he was coming for vacation, he said. And they got off the plane. We went to the fest. And the next day said, oh, we got to go help out a friend. She's got a vineyard and we need to go over there. And so usually when you go to a vineyard, they get you prepped. So she has this little board and everybody gets a quick little shot of schnapps to give you energy to get out there, because these vineyards, a lot of them are on the hills. So you got to climb up and down. So the girls were out there with the buckets cutting off the vines and getting the little grapes into the buckets. We'd pass them down, and then the guys would have that big cylinder on their back. You dump the bucket in there, and then they drudge it up to the top. And so for your comfort or a lot of them volunteer, but for you helping that vineyard out, usually they'll feed you a lunch. Sometimes it's called like a marsh. It's like a big soup, a hearty soup. But then, of course, you get to go home with some of last year's wine. That's the best part.
That sounds like a lot of work, but with a great reward.
Yes, it is. But many of the vineyards in Europe are usually family owned. So a lot of the families do help out, but a lot of times you have some of the locals that'll help out or some of the volunteers.
Well, I love your passion, your energy, and the fact that you're family owned business as well. So let's move over to Oktoberfest. First of all, what is it?
So Oktoberfest started back in the 1800s. It first started out because it was a wedding for King Ludwig, and then it went to a horse party and stuff. And somebody took it out of context and said, "Oh, we've got to do this. Harvest time is a good time." And so since it was during the fall, many of the folks came out and used to celebrate the harvest of the local, whether you were harvesting corn or vegetables or whatever. And this was a good time to celebrate the harvest time, the fall, and all of the things that came about. And from that, everybody thinks that the Oktoberfest is only in Munich. It's not. Munich is the largest. They usually have about 7 million people come to visit them. And 70% of them are locals. So it's not all the tourists, but they have so many visitors there. It's very, very touristic. It's huge. They drink, and of course, everybody thinks it's a beer fest. It's not always beer. A lot of times there's a wine tent usually, or you don't have to drink beer. I don't drink beer, but I have a great time. So there in the Oktoberfest, you have a lot of the people. Oh, I think Munich is 7.9 million gallons of beer. And so a lot of times you think, oh, wow. So when you go into the Oktoberfest, a lot of times as a kid, I used to think the Oktoberfest was, oh, we're going to go see the rides. We're going to ride shopping. What? You're going to shopping? So Party Oktoberfest down the street there, you could get some of the latest outfits. You could get some of the latest kitchen gadgets. My grandmother went and got her spices there, and for the kids, it was like, oh, carnival, the rides, and the whole bit. But then as an adult, I'm like, oh, this is party time. Whoa. So I make sure that in the fall, I'm at the Oktoberfest there at the Cannstatter Volksfest, which is the second largest fest in Germany. And the last time they had that, 2019, they had close to 4 million people, very close to Stuttgart. But when you go to the fest there, it's best to reserve your tickets. And so that means you have a reserved seat. With that reserved seat, you get your traditional half rotisserie chicken with the brötchen and 3 liters of beer. Now, this is just a half a liter that I've got right here. This is one of the commemorative mugs that I've gotten, but they call this a Mass. And usually it's a liter of beer. And if when you're in a tent, you usually get like 6 of these. One is like a liter usually, so 3 liters of beer. The Europeans have no issues about drinking that. We may, but you don't have to drink beer. And so I drink a lot of wine, Weinschorle, so that you don't get a little tipsy too early. It's like an American wine spritzer. At the fest, oh, when you're inside, it's song and dance and the Oompa music. And it's from modern day music to older music. Oh, it's just a wonderful time. And when you're in the tent, there are 2 shifts of parties. I call them parties. So you can either take the early shift, so you're there at 11 o'clock in the morning until 4. The tent I usually go to is my favorite, the party tent, Mr. Grundle, the Hofbrau tent. Oh my gosh. So you could get 4,000 to 6,000 people into this tent. When 4 o'clock hits and they have to leave, it is the most organized departure of half drunken people leaving, and they get ready for the second shift that comes in at 5 o'clock. And we're there from 5 p.m. until 11 p.m. or midnight on the weekends. It is a blast. And we have lots of people that come and entertain you, and you don't have to just eat rotisserie chicken. There are other things. They have rotisserie oxen. If you've never seen that, that is a wonderful delight of a meal with kraut. Oh, it's just so good. And then, of course, one of the big things is Vesperplatte. So you make sure that you have something good to eat before you start all that drinking. And they have a very, very huge platter, and it has lots of meats and cheeses and pretzels and all kinds of goodies. And I usually do that for all of my clients that come and visit with us, because we like to sit in the VIP section. We don't like to be down there with all the little young kids. They're on top of the tables and they're singing and dancing through all the popular songs. And you don't have to know the song. You just go along and you sing and drink and hum along.
Juanita, so much amazing information that I wasn't aware of. So the fact that we're in October now, if someone wanted to attend, is it too late?
Well, this year, due to COVID, they didn't have the big fests, but many of the little places in the little towns, I would say, in the smaller towns, they're having their own local fests. So if you're in Europe, oh, almost everybody, Oktoberfest is not just in October. It's usually the last 2 weeks of September and the first week of October. But, we drag this thing out. Let me tell you, if you can't make it to Europe, but you should really make reservations for the Spring Fest, which is in April. And if you're ready for the Oktoberfest next year, September 23rd, it starts 2022 until the 9th of October. And you can make reservations now because we get our tickets now. In the meanwhile, if you're in the United States, let me tell you, there are so many places that you can do Oktoberfest. I just attended my local Oktoberfest here in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and we did our Oktoberfest at the Bavarian Wirtshaus, which is a local German restaurant. Many of your local breweries will have a fest of some type, or they'll just acknowledge it. And some of them will actually ask you, come wear your dirndl, come dressed up, or just come and celebrate with us. So it's never too late, because in many, many places, Helen, Georgia is a great big opportunity for you to go. That little town looks just like you're in Germany. There are places in Texas, Braunschweig, Texas. Oh my goodness. Austin, Texas, in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia. There are Oktoberfests everywhere. Just look them up and find. You don't have to be able to talk German. You don't have to always know how to drink beer, but just the festivities of it all and the wealth of celebrating fall and the harvest.
Thank you, Juanita. I shared with you backstage that our family used to attend an Oktoberfest every year that my uncle would invite us to. And it was a lot of fun. And I don't drink beer and still had a great time. And that was outside Philadelphia. And I'm sure they're still doing it.
Oh, I bet. Philadelphia and the Pennsylvania area is a big area for Europeans. Actually, that's the first place we landed when we came to America in 1969. My mother had friends there and she felt safe. And so, yes, when you look, Chicago is also a big area. But the Northeast is where many of the Europeans, when they came and migrated to America, that's where they were at. And so they are still in those areas. I was really surprised. I was in Columbus, Georgia, a few years ago. They had over 20,000 German heritage people in that area. So there was a cute little German store there, and they did all kinds of things at Fort Benning, and they have a wonderful Oktoberfest there. I was just amazed.
Well, I can't think of anything that could be more fun to do, especially now. I think that people should look into it. And again, like you mentioned, you can make a reservation now for the Spring Fest. So we'll get into some more specifics about that when we come back. But we're going to take a break and hear from a couple of our sponsors. And then we'll be back right after this on USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. Stay with us here. We'll be back with Juanita.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You will remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
she comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
Ours is a world of wonder. Every day it reminds us of its beauty. It touches us, teaches us, and astounds us. But it also warns us that what we throw away does not go away. That higher temperatures mean a lot more than longer summers. That we can no longer take life as we know it for granted. We are at a unique stage in our history. Never before have we had such an awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about that.
And welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You are watching a special event, or maybe you're listening. It's called It's Oktoberfest. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I want to thank Ian Pelham-Turner and Helena Shard for providing that wonderful clip, the Earthshot Prize. It's something we all need to think about, what we're doing to this planet that we have here. But I want to welcome back our guest, Juanita Harvin. In our first segment, we were discussing what exactly Oktoberfest is. We were displaying some of the, dissipating some of the myths that people think it's just a beer fest. There's so much more. And you can celebrate really wherever you are in the world that they're having Oktoberfest. So Juanita is the founder of Your Way Tours. She is back for a second time. Juanita, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
It's a pleasure to have you. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you if you would kindly stand up and show us what you're wearing and tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, of course. So we have here, this is your typical dress for Oktoberfest. We call this a dirndl. And so when you wear this, it looks actually, it has a apron, and the apron, especially, there's a special place to tie that bow so that you're not mistaken. So this dirndl is one of the things that many of the young women and older women will wear. They come in different lengths, so mini, midi, or full length. But that apron and that bow are very special. So I have mine tied on the right side. That means I am taken, I am married. So that's why my bow is on the right side. If you are single, your bow would be over on the left side. If you're a virgin, it's in the middle. Get that mistake. And if it's in the back, you're either a widow or you're working here. It's a work item. But this is your typical dress. Nowadays, the fellas, they're wearing lederhosen. So you've seen those leather pants. But that does not mean only the guys have those on. The gals have them too. And what they do, they actually have them now in beautiful pink, red, purple leather. Oh my goodness. Most comfortable pants you would ever think about. They're not real tight, but they are durable. You're talking about some style. Oh my goodness. So lederhosen are not just for the fellas, but a lot of the girls are wearing them now as well.
I didn't know that, Juanita. Where does someone purchase lederhosen or a dirndl?
You know, in Europe, you can get them really easily in it's a seasonal item, you know, just like Halloween. But there are lots of companies. Dieters is one big one, Dieters. You can actually go online. You can either Google also what we call Trachten. This is the type of clothing that is usually worn in Bavaria. And Trachten clothing is the typical costume, Trachten. And the guys will wear like the grayish jacket, wool kind of jackets that are nice and warm. And they have a lot of emblems. So you'll see lots of, the hunters used to always wear them, you know. So you'd see lots of elk or deer or hunting symbols on some of these things. But you can actually go to your local department store in Europe and find them. In America, go online. I've seen lots of things actually on eBay. And, you know, a lot of folks, you know, when grandma passes away and they find that in the closet, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what it is. And so a dirndl, if you get a really good one, they're a little expensive. And so some of the ones from the older times are more durable and are beautiful, beautiful. And so you want to make sure and look for usually it's a costume company. And during the fall time, you'll find them more prevalent.
Especially with Halloween coming up.
And you know, in Germany, Halloween almost, we celebrate also Fasching. And so this is a great time for Europeans to buy their Fasching outfits. So Fasching is actually like your American Mardi Gras, but it starts November 11th on the 11th hour. And they go and buy those costumes that you've got at Halloween, and they celebrate and wear them from November all the way up until Mardi Gras to Fat Tuesday in February or March. And so Halloween is a wonderful time, which is also celebrated in Europe now.
Wonderful. What's your favorite Halloween costume?
Oh, you know, I usually wear my graduation outfit. And then sometimes I'll put my dirndl on because so many people are like, oh, wow. And you know, I don't just have one. It's so funny. My family in Germany, none of my cousins have a dirndl. I've got like 5 of them. So for different occasions, I've got them in black and gold for formal, you know, and everything. But I love wearing graduation garb for Halloween when I see the kids coming, you know, for Halloween and stuff. Just lots of fun.
And the fact that it fits is amazing, right? If you think about graduation outfits, you know, I don't know if mine would fit. I have to find it.
Oh, that robe. Yeah, you kind of squeeze. It's okay. It'll do.
I remember I still had my Girl Scout outfit from when how long ago was that? And at some point, it looked like it was this big. Like, I don't know how it shrunk. It's so tiny with the sash, with all the badges. I thought, no, this is not going to be.
That's a good one. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I sometimes borrow my kids. They used to go to Disneyland and get those big, huge hats. And so I borrow those a lot of times as well.
That's fun. That's fun. Juanita, I'd love to explore some other places that people can visit in the fall, some other types of trips and tours that you can set up for people.
Oh, well, one of the wonderful things that the fall time offers are those beautiful fall foliage. I'm down here in Florida. The trees don't really change colors so much here. So, one of the beautiful trips that you'd really probably love to take is up through the Gatlinburg and Tennessee area. Oh, the foliage is wonderful at this time of year. You can take a cruise up and down the Mississippi and see that as well, down towards New Orleans. And that's where you can see the wonderful parts of the United States and some of the countryside. All across Canada would be a wonderful train trip, or the top of the United States. Visiting some of the national parks right now, oh my goodness, those forest areas are always wonderful to see. And that's what I really enjoy about the fall time. If you are in Europe, like I said, this is the big time where a lot of the vineyards are having festivals, and they are celebrating, the harvest of the wine. In Ludwigsburg, Germany, right now is the biggest pumpkin show and festival. And it's actually a big, huge sculptures made out of pumpkins. And it's on the Ludwigsburg Castle fairgrounds. And that is awesome. I have never seen a pumpkin that would be 3 tons. So they have contests about who grows the biggest pumpkins and things. When you're also thinking about the fall time, you're thinking about, yes, the farmers are out there working. Well, in Europe, we celebrate everything. So you've got Spitzenkraut in Leinfelder Echterdingen. That's the pointed cabbage. They celebrate that. There's an onion fest. There's a red cabbage fest. Anything that's being harvested, that town or any town in Europe is going to celebrate that. In Italy right now, also the same thing. They have lots of vineyards, wine tastings in some of these areas that you can get to. And don't forget, in your local town, I'm quite sure you have a wine store, or some type of a wine bar. They are probably celebrating as well, just as your local brewery is celebrating this time of year with the harvest, because this is when you get those special tasting beers, those craft beers that they usually don't make. I haven't tried any beer with pumpkin, but I've tried Prosecco, pumpkin Prosecco. Let me tell you, that's some good stuff. And pumpkin potato cakes. Whoa, did you ever think about that too? Yes, there are some places, if you look for a farm in your area, they're probably showing you what they can make with all of those wonderful fresh vegetables and pumpkins. Oh, I know they're not just used to carve and have them beautifully displayed for Halloween. There are some wonderful culinary delights you can make with pumpkin. Have you tried pumpkin cheesecake?
Oh, yes. I'm getting hungry too. And by the way, let's give a shout out to all the farmers out there, because I know that they've got, that's a tough job that they've got. We here in New Jersey, this is the Garden State, and we have tons of farms. And when you drive past and you see these huge pieces of equipment that they have on there now that they didn't have before, many years ago. But I've seen many, many farms with pumpkins, and big pumpkins, not just your typical size. Yes. And I was thinking to myself, this would be a great idea to get some pumpkins and make some things. There's pumpkin soup, as you mentioned, pumpkin cheesecake, pumpkin pie, and you could throw even some pecans in there, some brown sugar. And I think it sounds like something I'm going to look into for this weekend.
Yes. Oh, isn't it so? And everybody has their different views of pumpkin, and if they don't use a pumpkin, they use sweet potatoes, same thing. But this is one of those times of year where the different things that people are cooking and baking is just amazing.
And I think pumpkins are high in protein. Is that right? Or am I?
Yes, they are. Yes. They are. It's a very good item to have on there. Have you ever had roasted pumpkin. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
I
you
have
grill it
not.
just or barbecue it just like you would something. Oh my goodness. And you throw that in with a couple of zucchinis or squashes and that pumpkin. Oh my goodness. Like a pumpkin medley. Very good. Roasted, just like if it was a steak or something. It is awesome.
Juanita, you're giving me so many great ideas of things to make this weekend. Seriously, I'm going to go to one of those farms, get some pumpkins, and let's see what comes out of the kitchen.
There you go. There you go.
So also I'd like to talk a little bit about the holidays. There's so many holidays coming up in the fall, but people can start planning now for the spring and the summer to go to Europe. And I'm just wondering, we talked about Spring Fest that you had mentioned. So what other details can you give us, and what action should people take if they want to start planning for the spring or the fall?
So this is a good time, as you've probably heard on television. The travel prices are going up. People are starting to travel again. And so this is a good time. January, February is a good time to go to Dubai or any of your very warm areas. Morocco is a popular place right now as well. And so to get your tickets now for that springtime is a must. The prices will be going up. We in Europe have Springfest. So Stuttgart does almost the same thing that they do at the Concertfest, but they do it at springtime. And so to get your tickets to go into Stuttgart, Germany, is a good thing to do that now. There are also festivals coming spring. And so what you'll find is many of the areas that are planting the flowers. Oh my goodness. So a good place to go for this next spring. Oh, you've got to go to Keukenhof in Netherlands, the Amsterdam. It's the capital of the tulips. I have never ever, and you will never ever see that many types of tulips. That is a great big thing there in Amsterdam, in all throughout Netherlands. But Keukenhof is the capital of the tulips. And so March, April are the big times where those tulips will be in full bloom, and you'll walk through gardens and gardens with lots and lots of the different types of tulips. And let me tell you, they cook with tulips too. Shocked me. Oh my goodness. So you'll see some of those things. Then if you go into the areas down in France, that's where you'll find many of those places where they'll be planting many, many of the flowers. And of course, the lavender fields will be getting ready for those blooms. It is the wonderful time. A lot of people go during these times when those flowers are blooming, and there are a lot of painting classes that you can take. So if you make reservations right now for the springtime, this is a good time to get your tickets for any of the spring events. There are places such as India. We're taking a group down to India in May, and Nepal. So those areas where the heat may be very, very hot during the summertime, you want to do those locations for your holidays in the springtime. And of course, when the summer starts hitting, that's when everybody's out. And so many of your island trips are popular, many of the beaches and things we'd like to go to. But in the spring here, this is the time we would book those folks for the Spring Fests. And this is the big time where I do a lot of my bookings for folks to go and visit the castles. They go to the Innsbruck and Austria places to see some of the beautiful Austrian areas. So if you're afraid of the winter time, if you're afraid of the snow, springtime in Europe starts about March or April, and the weather is wonderful, and you have to be considerate. Also, be aware. Check when you're making those reservations. Many of your European hotels or little pensions, the little bed and breakfasts, they don't have air conditioning. So you need to be aware of where you're booking and where you're going to get those flights to.
You certainly have given us a plethora of information to consider, and we need to take action and take action now. As we close out the show, I'm just wondering, what about all the snowbirds here in the States who are flocking down to your state? Any suggestions of things that people can be doing in Florida?
Oh my goodness. So, not just the beaches, But many of the areas here have, like I said, they have their own local fests and things. Just west of me over in Alabama, there's a beautiful new park coming up, Owa, and they have, the Dolly Parton restaurant. Southern food. If you're coming down here, you'd be surprised. Florida has lots of Southern food. They don't just have alligators. That's pretty much more down in the South. But you will find that in Florida, they do have lots of these culinary places. You'd be surprised what they can do with alligator bites. They have alligator bites. Those are the cute little, wonderful, just like chicken nuggets. You wouldn't know the difference. But you also have wonderful areas where they are actually still growing some of your vegetables, because they will grow almost all year round. We have lots of different farms here in Florida as well that you probably weren't aware of. There are tours that are in some of these mansions in the area that you may not be aware that they have ghost tours and ghost walking tours. And so come and check it out. Check out Our State. That is on the Google. Check out Our State and look for your state. They have the neatest places for you to visit that you didn't even think about.
Juanita, is that OUR State?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know about that either.
Our State, Florida, Our State, Georgia, and they have wonderful dining and places out of the beaten path. So you're not always there with the tourists. You know, lots of folks are coming down to Disneyland. They're coming down to Cape Canaveral. They're coming to do some of those things now because many of the kids may be at school. So this is a good time to go down to Miami and visit the Keys, Key West, and some of those places because they're not as crowded, but the weather is still wonderful.
Love that weather. And we've got a comment from the beautiful Diane Boehm. Thanks, Juanita, for all the tips. We're about to hit the road next week. And as you know, you met Diane on our last interview.
Yes, so we're author.
Yes, and we've got a show coming up with Diane and actually a friend from Dubai. You mentioned Dubai. So it's small world. I feel like there's some synergies going on here.
That has to be on your bucket list. Oh, amazing, amazing.
Thanks, Diane. Appreciate it. So, Juanita, as we've come to the close of our show, how can people get in touch with you if they want to book these tours? Maybe they just want some information or they really want to connect with you. What's the best way for people to contact you?
It's wonderful. They can come and see us on our website, www.eurway.tours. They can sign up for our monthly newsletter where I give a lot of the information and updates on different areas. You know, COVID has only stopped some of the things, and now the world is opening again. And they could give me a call if they want to just chat with me. I'm at 850-624-4042, or they can shoot us an email at Juanita@yourway.tours.
Thank you, Juanita. I really appreciate it. And for those who didn't get to see the whole show, I will be doing a replay of it tomorrow, but you can go over to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV, and you can watch it there, or Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, or you can listen on Business Talk Radio. Thank you so much, Juanita. It's a pleasure seeing you, and we look forward to having you come back and give us some other highlights for the holiday season, maybe in December.
Oh, Dr. Jacalyn, I'm looking forward to it because next time I hope to be live with you at the European Christmas markets.
Woo! Fantastic. We look forward to that, and I can't wait to see what you'll be wearing then.
Oh, it'll be more clothes than in Florida.
Well, thanks again for sharing that. And am I saying it right? Dirndl?
Dirndl, yes.
Dirndl. Okay, very nice. Thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for being such an amazing guest, providing so much great information. It's a pleasure. All right, we'll see you again, hopefully in December.
All right.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Wow, so much amazing information. If you are looking to hit the road, get out of your home and go and see the world again, please do reach out to Juanita. And if you missed her contact information, again, just go over to our YouTube channel or anywhere where you usually watch our program. She's with Your Way Tours, and it's a pleasure to have her here. Coming up next is fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. We've got a full day of shows today. We're really excited that you're here with us. You see, I've got my new background for the fall, shaking things up here as the leaves turn color. So we will be back momentarily with our next program. And again, thank you for being here and for everything that you do. We really do appreciate you. Our platform is growing and growing. If you're not on our newsletter list, you need to be, because we're opening a studio in the UK. We've got so much happening. Please go over to my website, drjacalyn.com, and you can sign up there to be a part of the newsletter. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, go to my website, drjacalyn.com, and you can sign up there as well. Okay, thank you again. We will be back very shortly.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydboehm.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydboehm.com.